Hi, everyone. I'm Molly Phelps, social worker and community organizer here at St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center. Okay, so today it's hard for me to know really where to begin. This week I had an opportunity to attend a lecture through ICJS, Towson's Institute for Islamic Christian Jewish Studies. And this was about the January 6th Capitol riot and the crisis in Christian identity. So I have spent a significant amount of time since then combing through articles, watching lectures, and exploring other resources since then to help me better understand what Christian nationalism looks like, how and where it intersects with white supremacy in American culture, and how to engage with people with differing beliefs in ways that won't further entrench them in the violent and harmful ideologies that they hold. What I learned in this lecture, which I'll link to in this video's description, and in the research that I've done, made me realize just how widespread these kinds of ideologies are. And I thought that I had an idea, but I quickly realized that I really didn't have a clear understanding of it at all. I don't think it's particularly helpful or possible for me to go into detail about this today, but I will link to some articles in the description for folks to do some further reading if it's something that you're interested in learning more about. Instead, I think it's more pertinent to share with you how all of these things showed up for me. As I sat in the lecture, I could feel a tightness in my chest. It was like all of the blood had left my body. I felt really cold. I felt like I wanted to run away, but that I was also completely frozen in place. I was riveted. I was horrified by what I was hearing. I commonly find that I respond to things that I find scary or anxiety provoking with a desire to escape. Maybe that resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you respond to stress differently. But regardless, I do think that it's important to draw attention to it. After the lecture, I spent some time feeling numb. And then I felt very sad. I thought about the kinds of horrors that people, particularly white people, have inflicted in the United States over the last week, in the last month, in the last year, over the last several centuries. I thought a lot about the Tops Friendly Market shooting in Buffalo, where an 18-year-old radicalized by internet forums drove several hours from his home to explicitly kill Black people in the only supermarket in their neighborhood. Even now, as I remember how I felt physically and emotionally at the time, I can literally feel the tears welling up behind my eyes and the heat in my face. Something had touched a nerve, but which nerve? I had to know. I think that feeling of not knowing is really what spurred me to read everything that I possibly could in my spare moments over the next several days. But I didn't really find what I was looking for in the pages and pages of articles that I read, nor in the words of any of the lecturers or scholars who were trying to make sense of it all. So the only thing that I could do was return to the things that I already know. So for the last month, I've been participating in an intentional space with others to explore how and where white body supremacy shows up in the body, in the mind, and in life. This group has focused on the practices of somatic exploration of bodily sensations that show up when we think about things that we might otherwise find too painful or we might shy away from. Our society has acculturated us to push past discomfort and to push past pain and not to slow down enough to feel what it is that we are really actually feeling. And I think often we allow ourselves to forget to feel because we might be afraid that the actual feeling of pain or of grief or of sadness, of terror, might break us. Part of what I'm learning from this group and through the readings that we're doing together is that there are a lot of things about the last several centuries of white body supremacy that I have simply never allowed myself to think about or really internalize. It has also helped me to realize that I've spent a lot of time flat out ignoring the feelings in my body and the clues that they give me about what I'm really feeling. I have found that being able to explore these feelings in a container with others has been a profound experience that has helped me to build deeper relationships and allow myself to feel the pain of others and feel my own pain. So, what does all this mean? Well, I think that it means that there are a lot of really scary and horrible things happening in the world, and that we have to find a way to actually reckon with them. We have to build up our own resiliency to feel the fear and the discomfort and the sadness and the grief and whatever else that it is that we're feeling. And then we have to do something useful with it. So in terms of like what something useful looks like, I mean, I guess it can look like having conversations with people about those feelings, actually processing them, and then building stronger bonds. It can look like organizing around an issue that's meaningful and painful to you. It can look like engaging with people who think differently and exploring with them. Much of the research on de-radicalization of extremism that I've been doing has shown that positive encounters with people who they were taught to hate actually has a huge impact. Stigmatization and ridicule often pushes people down their path further, and being able to subvert their expectations can have a profound effect. I guess it can also look like noticing where these things show up in your body, noticing where these things that are happening around us and to us are actually happening within us, and then learning to sit with it and actually affording ourselves the opportunity to discern what it is that we do next.